Okay, we're back at it now. January 30th, 2023. This is 403 Sportstalk number 489. I'm Raheem Escalay. Hope all is well. We're nearing the end of January. The conference championships were yesterday, so we got to speak about those. Power rankings were released this past weekend as well, so we've got that for you to look and go over and comment as you normally do. So let's get everything started now, and we'll start with the NFL player evals. Start to see more and more passing going on in the sport. It's obvious that more and more talented wideouts are going to start to make their way into the league. And this is, in other words, a golden age of wide receiver prospects, and they continue in this year. How does the pecking order stand out, though? As many of you who know college football, probably assuming that Quentin Johnson is the number one. Quentin Johnson at TCU is the number one guy on this list. I'm not even going to sit here and shit you. But Jordan Addison, or maybe somebody else entirely, can make steps up to be a top wideout. We'll see. Let's see. Number 10, we start with Trey Palmer out of Nebraska. For truly talented players, in my eyes, it's often only a matter of time before things click. Trey Palmer just needed the right situation. Needed a quarterback. They needed a line to block so that quarterback could get passes to him. And that's what we got in 2022. A former star track athlete, a highly touted LSU recruit, Palmer found new success at Nebraska, grabbing 71 balls for 1,043 yards and 9 tuds. A bright spot on an otherwise underwhelming Big Ten West team, Palmer delivered on his breakout hopes this year, and in doing so, practically strengthened his 2023 NFL draft stock. He's an impressively fast and fluid athlete at 6'1", 190, often slot boundary versatility and crisp explosiveness is what you expect to see in guys who play the middle rather than the outside at wideout. But when his breaks and when he gets separation, it's ridiculous. Number 9, Rome Odunze out of Washington Huskies. As of me writing this, it's not a lack of Washington's Rome Odunze. It's not a lock. Excuse me. That Mr. Odunze will declare for the 2023 NFL Draft. There's a chance he returns to school, but he undoubtedly has a case to leave early in a strong season with over 70 catches and 1,000 yards to back him up. Catching passes from Michael Penix Jr., he found the spotlight on a weekly basis last year. At 6'3", 201, he offers great size and length, but he's a surprisingly smooth athlete for that size, as many might not think. An effortless separator and crowded catch threat with a spry RAC agility. That's run after catch, for those who don't know. Odunze brings a complete skill set to whichever team drafts him. And I think he's definitely going to be a good pick. Maybe a third rounder. As far as the rest of everybody else on this list. Excuse me. Number 8, we have Jalen Hyatt out of Tennessee, and he's a guy who kind of just started to learn about, so I don't have much on him. Speed sells during the draft process. It honestly does. We've seen this with first-round risers like Will Fuller and John Ross, and we could see it again this cycle with Tennessee's Jalen Hyatt. Hyatt has game-breaking speed, a primary trait that helped him amass 67 grabs for 1,267 yards and 15 touchdowns in a Biletnikoff winning campaign. He has declared for the NFL Draft. Number 7, Zay Flowers out of Boston College. This is a guy that I saw a lot this year, along with Springfield's own Joey Griffin. Shout out to you, Mr. Griffin. I know you had a great year, and we're going to see the Springfield product grow on his first season and maybe come into national attention here in his second year. But anyway, we're talking about Zay Flowers right now. There are a few highly rated and undersized wideouts in this draft. Zay Flowers being the first to appear on this list. The Shrine Bowl commit put up a dominant 2022 campaign, 78 grabs, 1,077 yards, and 12 scores. And he could be a steal this coming April at 5'10", 172. Size would most definitely be a concern for him. And for projective purposes, I would say it's warranted. But Flowers is incredibly explosive, agile, dynamic, rare balance, both as a route runner and as a run after the catch threat, and at the catch point. His instincts defy logic at times, and that's something that NFL coaches are gonna love, honestly. And maybe love-hate relationship, but anyway. Number 6, Cedric Tillman, another Tennessee Volunteer, has made my list. Injuries prevented Mr. Tillman from seeing the field consistently last year. With that said, he didn't need a breakout year after his 1,081-yard, 12-touchdown performance in 2021. Being a late breakout, it would have been nice to see a repeat. But we know Tillman has all the goods, honestly. And at 6'3", 215, he checks the size box effusively. And with his size and length, he fits the profile of a boundary alpha. Like, he's going to be on the outside, dominate. He has a level of contested catchability that you love. But then again, you watch him tempo his routes. Manipulate blind spots in places where safeties might not be where they're supposed to be, and beating man coverage often. From what I saw in Tennessee, one of Hendon Hooker's favorite receivers. He's a complete wideout with dominant guy's mold. He's going to dominate and probably be a star in this league at some point for a little while. Number 5, Jackson Smith-Njigba from Ohio State. Hope I'm not mispronouncing that. In all honesty, Jackson Smith could have simply opted out in 2022. Few would have faulted him for this after his dominant 2021 campaign. People didn't want to see how he'd fare without Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave alongside him, though. But he has already shown enough to cement an early round appeal in my eyes. There will be questions in his athletic ceiling, honestly, as well as his ability to win against press coverage and working on the boundary as well. But already he has an incredibly reliable mode of success. He's an extremely nuanced separator with a high level of understanding of space, and his catching instincts are rivaled by very few. Number 4, Jordan Addison out of USC. Can you imagine Drake London, Jordan Addison, wide receiver, and Caleb Williams at quarterback? High-powered offense littered with stars and a great coach. J.A. earned a comfortable place among the top 5 wideouts in the 2023 NFL Draft when he won the Biletnikoff Award 2 years ago. The only question now is where he'll settle in opinions. And they may vary across the board, honestly, but he still orbits the podium here at 6'0", 175, I think he was. Size, play strength, and a lack of overachieving physicality will be notable concerns for Mr. Addison down the stretch. He can also seek more control with his brand of athleticism and kind of dictate where he goes and not let the defense dictate where he's going to go. With his high-level switch and sync doesn't come around often, honestly. So this guy can do it. Number 3, we have Josh Downs out of North Carolina, Drake May's favorite wide receiver here. Drake May didn't become a fringe Heisman candidate by chance last year. Sure, he needed talent to get there, but he needed some help. He got it from Josh Downs, grabbing 94 catches, 1,029 yards, and 11 touchdowns. This season mirroring his dominant production from 2021. At this point, he's been a top-end producer for 2 seasons and counting, cementing his mid-round, third-round status, maybe second-round, actually. And he has a high floor projection when he gets into the NFL, at least from what I look at. He has elite explosiveness and athletic control, very good spatial awareness, dragging those toes on the sidelines, and he can carve through defenses and also finish plays beyond his frame. Occasionally, he's going to amaze you. Number 2, Rashee Rice from SMU. It's a name that probably most of you are not going to be familiar with. Hear me out. We talk about Rice as one of the top senior wideouts this draft, but maybe it's time to start giving him more respect as one of the class's top wideouts, period. After putting up 96 catches, 1,355, and 10 scores in 2022, while dealing with a broken toe, he's impossible to ignore. The competitive toughness goes without saying, and Rice is a clear extroverted alpha in a one-on-one situation. He's going to beat your corner. But from a trait standpoint, his 3-level framework is also very appealing. What I found is that he's incredibly instinctive at the catch point, can also separate and run up to the catch yards with high energy athleticism at 6'2", 203 pounds. Then obviously TCU's Quentin Johnson is my number one guy here, but was disappointingly quiet during the 66-7 national championship loss TCU suffered. The situation is murkier at the top of the draft class than we're accustomed to seeing. That doesn't mean that there isn't talent. However, when it's as murky as this, it's always reasonable to bank on top-end traits. That's what Quentin Johnson has. It took time for him to gear up this year, obviously, but his final 7 games, he had 41 grabs, 789, and 5 scores, showing the full extent of his developmental ceiling. He's an uncommon athlete, 6'4", 215 pounds, with an uncanny long strider burst and flexibility. And his projected 3-level ability can change any offense. Here we go, honorable mentions. A.T. Perry out of Wake Forest, he's a good one. Raheem Jarrett out of Maryland, Dontavion Wicks out of Virginia, Jacob Cowling out of Arizona, Jaden Reed out of Michigan State, Xavier Hutchinson from Iowa State, Marvin Mims out of Oklahoma, DeCorian Clark from UTSA, go Roadrunners, yes. Parker Washington out of Penn State, and Bryce Ford Wheaton out of West Virginia. And that is it for episode 489 of 412 Sports Talk. I'm Raheem Escalade. Love you all, wishing up health, wealth, and success, and we thank you all as the support continues to grow. We'll see you tomorrow with episode 490. Have a good one.